Hi, this is Shelley Hoffman with an episode of Ask the Expert, and today I'm here with Melanie Randolph. Melanie is owner of Windows to the World, and she's going to explain to us the importance of window treatments, especially living here in central New York, and the fact that it might be getting a little cold soon. So, Melanie, what can you tell us? Why is it so important to have these window treatments?
Well, thank you for having me here today, Shelley.
Absolutely.
Window treatments are so important because they can control the energy flow in and out of your window. When you think about your house, about 10% of your home is windows, and you're going to lose half of your heat through that window.
Wow, that's a lot of heat.
That is a lot of heat going out the windows. It's not necessarily because your windows have an airflow issue. Windows are not actually wind holes like people used to say. The really good quality windows are energy holes, and it all goes back to an R value.
Okay, so explain to me what an R value is, because here in central New York, a lot of times we want those windows to allow the natural light in because it gets so dark, so, we have a lot of cloudy days. So the natural light is great, but it sounds like the heat's going out those same things that are giving us. So what's the R factor, and what can we do to offset it?
An R value is a product's ability to resist the transfer of heat.
Okay.
So if you think about your home, you think about your roof, your wall, the insulation, most of those things have a 25 R value. So they are resisting the transfer of heat in either direction. A very good quality double hung window is only going to have a 3.5% R value.
Okay.
Thus, you are going to have an energy hole in your windows regardless if they're brand new and the quality. Okay. So what can we do in New York, in the snow belt, to reduce this energy flow, especially in the winter? In the winter, you want to increase the R value of your window. And at the same time, you still want to bring the light in because the light will bring a heat transfer. Okay. 76% of the sun, direct sun, will transfer as heat into your home.
Okay.
Both of those things, great to have in the winter.
Right.
A higher R value, more transferred heat. So how do we do that? How do we do both of them? Well, first of all, window treatments are a great way to do it. And there's several different kinds of window treatments that would increase your R value more.
Okay.
The first type would be a cellular shade. I don't know if you're familiar with the cellular shade.
I am not, no.
They're often called honeycomb shades because
okay.
if you look at the side of them, it looks like a honeycomb. The air flows through it.
Okay. Because
the air is flowing through it, you're kind of making a barrier. So that is one of the best window treatments to increase your R value.
Okay.
You want to hang your window treatment as close to your window as possible.
So so I had window treatments measured at my house one time, and I had wanted the windows measured on the outside of the window frame. Is that why they wanted to put they measured the inside so that it would be closer to the window when it actually rested?
Yes.
The window
for energy
points?
efficiency, you want as close to the window as possible.
Okay.
For light diffusion, which we can talk about another time, making it room darkening, outside measurements are going to be better.
Okay.
But if you can get the tightest fit you can to the window is going to give you the highest R value and the most energy efficiency of the window treatment.
So it's really important when somebody's having that consultation with yourself or someone who does what you do to say, this is what I'm looking for. This is what's most important. So it's not necessarily how pretty can you make my windows, it's the efficiency of what you're putting on the windows for that combination, correct?
For the winter combination, energy efficiency, yes, you always want to have the beauty. Everybody's going to put something on their window that looks beautiful, but is it the beauty and the light darkening for a bedroom? Is it the beauty and energy efficiency for an area like this where we get really, really cold in the winter and want to save on our heating bill? Is it the beauty and the light diffusion?
Okay.
Do we want less light? Do we want to control the light that comes in a room? Are we trying to protect our furniture? So today I thought, as I said, we'll focus on the energy efficiency aspect of it.
Right, because it's the winter time. So you said the first one was, which I call honeycomb, but you
Correct.
called it, what is it called?
They're cellular shades.
Okay.
They're cellular shades. They're also called honeycomb shades. One of the best ways, one of the smallest products, you can raise and lower it. You can get them with cords. You can get them without cords. We're also right in the midst of making everything more child safe, so a lot of companies are going cord free on most items. I highly recommend it. It's usually not a very high price increase to go cord free.
Right, okay.
So what we're going to do with that is we can reduce our heat loss using honeycomb shades by up to 40%.
Wow.
Which I know any of us here in Syracuse, Baldwinsville, Central New York area know how expensive our heating bills are. So it can make a huge difference. So even though you outlay in the beginning to put the money into the window treatments, in the long run, over years and years, they're really going to pay back for your energy efficiency. So what we're trying to do is, in the winter, as I said, we're trying to raise our R values by insulating the windows more. Another idea would be window quilts. Not as popular around here. They're really not manufactured by any window treatment manufacturer, so to say, but you can get them custom made. And what it is a quilt like you put on your bed, but it's rolled up and rolled down either with channels or Velcro and really just closing off that window.
Wow.
So you're really trying to increase your R value. The only thing with that is, though, you would want the direct sunlight. You want to have your solar coefficient. You want to kind of use that to your benefit in the window also, which means all the sunlight that's coming in through your window, 76% of it will turn into heat. So in the winter, that's really important when we get those sunny days, to keep all of your window treatments up if they're getting direct sunlight.
So if I understand correctly, if you get the quilt, which again, you could probably get this pretty decorative and pretty, but if you're pulling it down, you're not getting the heat from the sun.
Correct, you're not getting the heat from the sun. Whereas with the cellular shades, they're much more easy to operate. You can go up and down much quicker. A lot of times you can get them remote. You can actually get them programmed on your phone.
Okay.
So once you know if it's going to be a sunny day at a certain time and you're not home, you can actually have them raise on their own.
Okay. Do they typically go up and down? Because I'm just thinking, if I did want to do something like the quilts, if I lowered them in the evening when the sunlight's gone, and then when the sun comes out in the morning, raise them up. Is that a way that they could work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Every window treatment should be closed on a winter evening in Syracuse. If you have anything to insulate your windows, be it the two we talked about or some more I'm going to go over, you want everything closed in the winter in Syracuse.
Okay.
At the evening time. When you have sunlight coming in during the daytime, that's when you want to start using your solar coefficient to bring more heat into the building in the winter.
Okay. Right, so we went over to, and what's another way that we can?
So another way that we could do it would be a curtain or a drapery.
Okay.
If you really want to do the most insulating on a window, you're going to have the curtain come, or the drapery come to the windowsill or the floor, because then you are closing off the air that could come up the bottom.
Okay.
If you top it off with a cornice or a soft treatment that has a header on the top of it that's totally enclosed, you're cutting off the flow that goes through the top. And for those that really are concerned about it, they actually will close off and Velcro the sides to the wall. So what you're really doing is you're closing everything in on the window.
Okay, so just so I can wrap my head around this. Let's say that I have a window and I have curtains that go down to the floor.
Correct.
Okay. Then I have the header.
Correct.
And I have the Velcro that goes, so it Velcros to the side, it Velcros up top, so it's completely encased. That's preventing more cold from entering my home, correct? That's the best way to
Correct.
go?
You are insulating. That is the best way for insulation to prevent any cold from coming in your home in the winter.
Okay. So my mind's now going, so I need the honeycombs or the quilts right next to my window. And then if I get these curtains or drapes going off of those with this header, I mean, obviously that'd be extremely expensive, and I probably would love to do it. Probably won't happen. But that literally would be an amazing way to keep the heat in my home.
Oh, your R value would be great, your R value, but you don't have to do both of them. You can do one or the other.
Oh, really?
Most of the times when somebody has a drapery, they're not going to put, for insulation purposes, they're not going to put it all on their window.
Okay.
Because then you're going to get it, that goes into appearance, and it's going to look really heavy.
Okay. I get really cold, so in my mind I was thinking, wow.
Right, you
that would
actually
be really
could.
warm.
You could do it. You could do everything. And the
Okay.
idea is, when you have the cornice on the top, is no airflow, it's not seeping up the top, it's not seeping in the bottom, it's not going on the sides either.
Okay. Okay.
It also can be the weight of the fabric, if you have draperies. You can have a heavier fabric, and that's going to let less of the air through. You also can do an interlining in the fabric, which is very popular on our sliders here in Syracuse, where you have your decorative fabric in the front, you have your white or off-white in the back, and we actually, when we fabricate, we'll put an interlining, a quilted material between it. So it's kind of similar to the window quilts, but you're putting them on a drapery. It's a little easier to operate because generally they're operated side to side.
Okay.
And it's a little more attractive. Some people think a little more modern than the quilt.
Okay.
So if we put the interlining, that kind of makes your drapery more as a window quilt.
Okay, and I can see the attractiveness. Because when we first started this and you had talked about the insulation in the home, I know that the thicker the insulation in the attic, the better the R value would be.
Correct.
So I was thinking with the window treatment, again, if you have that thickness there.
Correct.
Okay.
So that brings us to another type of window treatment, which we have a roller shade. Roller shades are very, very hot right now. Mostly the screen shade type where you can see through, but overall a roller shade is not going to give you any insulation.
And why is that?
Very much at all. It's a very thin piece of material. It generally doesn't touch the window. It's a little farther out from the window, but there's just not, it's not a great insulator. It's kind of like putting a piece of paper on the window. You're going to have a little bit of insulation, but it's such a thin piece of material that it's made from. The other option would be a Roman shade, and you can get a Roman shade with more of a room darkening or a thicker material. That's going to give you a little more insulation.
Okay. So that would really be something if you're just focused on the decorative aspect of it.
The decorative or the light diffusion.
Okay.
Roller shades are great for light diffusion, especially if you live on a body of water. You want to be able to see the water. You want a little privacy. You want to be able to see through. You don't want the sun to come directly through the other way. Very, very hot with window shades in that area now. Or you could do a window shade and a drapery. We pair those together. So you have the light diffusion and you have the insulation factor. You can increase your R value.
Okay, so now I'm visualizing if you do the roller shade with the curtains, you could technically have the curtains open during the day, allowing the sunlight to come in with the roller shade.
Yes.
And then at night close the curtains, which again, like you mentioned in Syracuse, you really want to have things covered up in the evening.
Correct.
To keep the cold out.
Correct. So it's a lot of a pairing. It's what you're going to pair together to make what you need in your home at the time. It depends where your house faces, it depends the direct light, and this is all in the winter. Now in the summer months, you really don't want, you want to keep your solar coefficient lower because you do not want to have to run the air in your house and have 76% of the sunlight turning into heat as it comes in the window.
Okay.
So in the summer, it's the opposite.
Okay.
You're going to try, you still love your R factors to be good because you don't want a heat transfer, you don't want the energy transfer from the air conditioning outside.
Okay.
However, you don't want the solar coefficient to be high because that's the heat coming in and warming your house. So it'd be the opposite in the winter. On a sunny day, you want to close your window treatments.
Okay.
Because you want to have that barrier between the outside sun and the coolness inside your house.
No, and it all definitely makes sense. I have a feeling we might need another Ask the Expert episode in the spring to figure out what to do in the summer and the best things for the summer. But at least for the winter, it gives that idea of, the best way to keep sunlight coming in and the cold air to stay out. If there was any other tips or information that you think it's important to share, especially this time of the year, was there anything that you kind of want to throw out there and give us that information, because it really is the time that people are preparing the house for the winter months.
I think I just highly, highly recommend some type of window treatment because really they can reduce your energy consumption and change the atmosphere in the house, and they can just lower your heating and cooling expenses overall. They're not just for appearance. Most people think they're just for appearance or just for privacy, but especially in this area, just anything that you can do to raise your R value.
Okay. Well, I definitely appreciate the information, Mel. Like I said, with winter coming, I have a back room in my house that I can just feel the cold air coming through. I don't even like to work in the office for that particular reason, so that's something I'm going to have to take a look at. I'm sure a lot of you have a room in your house that you need to have some better, some roller, the honeycombs, the curtains, the encasement. I mean, it's way prettier than the tarps and the plastic that we see on the windows, but obviously something like that would probably work, just not be attractive.
Oh, absolutely. I remember growing up and at college, the college houses were very drafty and everybody would get their hair dryers out and put their plastic. It was the same concept.
Okay.
The exact same concept of trying to raise the R value to insulate. Now we just do it in a more decorative, more presentable way.
Sounds
since
good.
we're out of our college houses.
Nice. So, well, thank you for being here. Thanks for all the information.
Well, thanks for having me.
Sure. If you have more questions about how to keep the R value down, or questions for Melanie in general, you can reach out to us at PAC-B TV. We're on Facebook. You can direct message us that way. You can also go to the website, which is www.pacbtv.org. And if there's something else, especially going into the fall, the winter months, that you want information on, we have all kinds of experts here in Baldwinsville. We would certainly love to have them come on and answer your questions for that as well. So everybody have a great day.